In the year 2573, humans had long since abandoned Earth, or Terra as it was historically known. Captain Mara Voss stood at the helm of the Starfinder gazing at the blue-green sphere on the view screen. Terra was a legend now, spoken of in hushed tones, a cautionary tale of ecological collapse and the consequences of hubris. But it was also the key to untold technological secrets buried beneath its surface, and that's why they were here. "Approaching Terra's atmosphere, Captain," reported Kellen, her first mate. His voice held a note of apprehension that matched the uneasy feeling in her gut. "All systems check," Mara ordered. "We don't know what kind of conditions we'll be facing down there." The crew busied themselves with preparations. There was Lynn, the ship's engineer, double-checking the landing gear and atmospheric seals, and Dr. Aisha Patel, the ship's scientist, calibrating her instruments to gather data from the planet's surface. The youngest of the crew, Jax, a navigator and tech specialist, was nervously biting his nails as he reviewed maps of old Terra, passed down from generation to generation. "Landing sequence initiated," Kellen announced. The ship shuddered as it entered the atmosphere, the once familiar sensation of descent now feeling foreign after so many years away from planetary landings. As they broke through the clouds, the sight that greeted them was both awe-inspiring and eerie. Vast forests covered the land, nature reclaiming what was once hers. Ruins of skyscrapers, now mere skeletons of their former glory, jutted out from the greenery. It was a world both dead and alive. They landed in what used to be a major city, now swallowed by the forest. As the crew disembarked, the air was thick with humidity and the scent of wet earth. Birds and insects buzzed around, curious about the new visitors. "Stay close," Mara instructed. "We don't know what's out there." Dr. Patel was already scanning the environment. "The air is surprisingly clean. Nature has done a remarkable job of healing." Jax pointed to the ruins. "Looks like we'll find what we're looking for in there. The old tech centers should have what we need." The crew advanced cautiously through the overgrowth, their path taking them deeper into the city. The remnants of human civilization loomed around them, broken roads, rusted vehicles, and crumbling buildings, all eerily silent save for the sounds of nature. Suddenly, Lynn stopped. "Did you hear that?" They all froze, listening. There it was again, a rustling sound as if something was moving in the underbrush. "Probably just an animal," Kellen said, though he didn't sound convinced. Mara signaled for them to move forward, but now with heightened alertness. The feeling of being watched grew stronger with each step they took. They reached the entrance of an old tech lab, its doors covered in vines. Jax went to work, bypassing the ancient security systems with practiced ease. The door creaked open, revealing a dark corridor ahead. "Let's find what we came for and get out of here," Mara said, her voice echoing in the stillness. As they stepped inside, the atmosphere changed. The temperature dropped, and the air felt heavy with history and secrets long buried. They switched on their lights, illuminating the dusty, abandoned interior. Machines and computers lay dormant, covered in layers of dust and cobwebs. "Start searching," Mara ordered. "We need to locate the central database." As they spread out, a sense of unease settled over them. This place was a tomb, a monument to humanity's past mistakes. But amidst the silence and decay, there was a whisper of something more, a presence that seemed to watch their every move. The mission was just beginning, and already Terra was proving to be more than they had bargained for. The crew of the Starfinder began their exploration of the ancient tech lab, their footsteps echoing in the dimly lit corridors. Dust particles danced in the beams of their flashlights, giving the place an almost ethereal quality. The tension was palpable as they ventured deeper into the bowels of the abandoned facility. "There's power here," Lynn noted, tapping into a console. "It's faint, but it's something. The backup generators must still be functional." "Can you get the main systems online?" Mara asked, standing beside him. "I'll try," Lynn replied, his fingers flying over the controls. After a few moments, the lights flickered, then stabilized, casting a sickly yellow glow over the room. The hum of machinery coming to life was both reassuring and unsettling. "Good work," Mara said. "Let's find that central database." As they moved through the facility, they passed through rooms filled with long-forgotten technology. Dr. Patel stopped to examine some of the equipment. Her curiosity piqued. "These devices are remarkable," she said, marveling at the advanced but archaic machinery. "Imagine what we could learn from this place." "Focus on the mission," Mara reminded her. "We can come back for more later." They reached a large chamber that appeared to be the main control room. Jax immediately went to work on the central terminal, connecting his portable device to the ancient systems. "I'm in," he said, his eyes scanning the lines of code. "There's a lot of data here. It'll take some time to sift through it all." "Do what you can," Mara instructed. "The sooner we have what we need, the sooner we can get out of here." While Jax worked, Kellen and Dr. Patel explored the adjacent rooms. They found storage areas filled with old documents and blueprints, many of them in a state of disrepair. Kellen picked up a dusty folder, thumbing through the brittle pages. "These are records from the final days," he said, showing Dr. Patel. "Looks like they were working on some kind of genetic experiments." Dr. Patel's eyes widened as she read. "They were trying to create a new form of life, one that could survive the harsh conditions on Terra." Meanwhile, back in the control room, Jax's expression turned grim. "Captain, you need to see this," he called out. Mara walked over to the terminal where Jax had pulled up a series of logs. "These logs detail the experiments they were conducting," he explained. "They were creating hybrid creatures, a mix of human and animal DNA." "Why would they do that?" Mara asked, horrified. "Desperation, maybe," Jax replied. "They were running out of options, trying to find a way to adapt to the changing environment." Suddenly, a loud noise echoed through the facility. The crew froze, their eyes darting around in alarm. "What was that?" Lynn whispered, his hand instinctively going to his sidearm. "Stay alert," Mara ordered. "We might not be alone in here." As they regrouped, they heard the sound again, closer this time. It was a low growl, followed by the sound of something scurrying through the vents. "Something's here," Kellen said, his voice tense. "And it doesn't sound friendly." The crew formed a defensive circle, their weapons drawn. The growling grew louder, and then from the shadows emerged a pair of glowing eyes. "Everyone back to the ship," Mara commanded. "Now!" They moved quickly, retracing their steps through the labyrinthine corridors. As they neared the exit, the creatures revealed themselves, twisted, monstrous beings that looked like a nightmarish blend of human and animal. "Go, go, go!" Mara shouted, firing her weapon to cover their retreat. They burst out of the facility and ran through the overgrown cityscape, the creatures hot on their heels. The Starfinder was in sight, but the creatures were gaining ground. "Lynn, get us airborne!" Mara yelled as they reached the ship. Lynn sprinted ahead, activating the ship's engines. The ramp began to close as the crew scrambled aboard. Just as the creatures lunged, the Starfinder lifted off, leaving Terra's horrors behind. Breathing heavily, Mara turned to her crew. "We got what we came for, but I have a feeling this is just the beginning." The crew of the Starfinder regrouped on board, each member catching their breath after the harrowing escape. The mood was somber as they realized the magnitude of what they had encountered on Terra. "Those creatures," Lynn said, shaking his head. "What were they?" "Results of those genetic experiments," Dr. Patel replied, her voice filled with a mixture of awe and dread. "The logs hinted at creating hybrids, but I never imagined they would be so advanced." Mara nodded, her mind racing. "We need to understand exactly what happened here. Jax, did you manage to download any of the data?" Jax held up his portable device. "Got a good chunk of it. It'll take time to decrypt and analyze, but we should start seeing results soon." "Good. Everyone stay alert. We don't know if those creatures can track us," Mara instructed. "Lynn, keep the ship in low orbit. We might need to go back down." As Jax began decrypting the data, the ship's sensors detected movement on the planet's surface. More of the creatures were emerging from the ruins, their numbers growing. "We can't go back there," Kellen said, watching the screen. "It's too dangerous." "Agreed," Mara said. "But we need answers. If those things are intelligent, they might have a reason for coming after us." Dr. Patel's voice broke the silence. "I've been analyzing the samples we collected. These creatures have a complex genetic makeup, part human, part animal, and something else. It's almost as if they were designed to adapt and survive. Hours passed as the crew waited tensely. Then Jax's console beeped. "I've got something," he announced. "It's a message from the past." The crew gathered around as he played the recording. An exhausted-looking scientist appeared on the screen, her voice filled with urgency. "This is Dr. Elena Reyes, recording the final days of Project Genesis. Our attempts to create a new form of life have succeeded, but at a terrible cost. The hybrids are intelligent, resourceful, and see us as intruders. We tried to contain them, but they have taken control. If anyone finds this message, beware. These creatures are the new rulers of Terra." The recording ended, leaving the crew in stunned silence. "They were warning us," Kellen said. "Those creatures aren't just animals. They're the dominant species now." "We need to find out if there's a way to communicate with them," Mara said decisively. "If they're intelligent, there might be a chance to reason with them." The crew agreed, albeit reluctantly. Jax continued his work, extracting more data about the hybrids and their capabilities. Meanwhile, Lynn and Kellen prepared the ship for another potential descent. "Captain," Jax called out, "I've found something. There's another facility, an underground bunker that might hold more answers. It's heavily shielded, which is probably why we didn't detect it before." Mara looked at the coordinates. "It's not far from where we landed. We'll need to go back, but this time, we'll be prepared." The Starfinder descended once more, this time with greater caution. They landed a safe distance from the bunker and proceeded on foot, their senses heightened and weapons ready. The entrance to the bunker was hidden beneath layers of overgrowth. Lynn cleared the way, revealing a heavy metal door. Jax bypassed the security systems and the door groaned open. Inside, the air was cold and sterile, a stark contrast to the wild outside. They moved through the corridors, the bunker's lights flickering as they activated long-dormant systems. They reached a central chamber filled with advanced technology, far more sophisticated than what they had seen in the previous facility. Dr. Patel immediately started examining the equipment, her eyes wide with fascination. "These are control modules," she said. "They were monitoring the hybrids, possibly even communicating with them." Jax accessed the central terminal, his fingers deftly navigating the ancient interface. "I'm pulling up the last recorded communications." The screen lit up with a series of logs and video files. One by one, they watched as the scientists interacted with the hybrids. The creatures displayed remarkable intelligence, understanding commands, and even engaging in rudimentary conversations. "They were trying to teach them," Dr. Patel said, "to coexist with humans." The last log was the most chilling. It showed a confrontation between the scientists and the hybrids. The creatures were demanding freedom, seeing the scientists as jailers. The encounter ended in violence, the hybrids overpowering their creators. Mara stepped back, her mind reeling. "We need to find a way to talk to them. If they can understand us, maybe we can negotiate." As they prepared to leave, the bunker's alarms suddenly blared to life. The creatures had found them. "We're out of time," Mara said, her voice steady. "Back to the ship. We'll have to figure this out from orbit." The crew sprinted through the corridors, the sounds of pursuit echoing behind them. They reached the Starfinder and took off, the creatures clawing at the ship as it ascended. Back in orbit, Mara gathered her team. "We know they're intelligent. Now, we need to figure out how to communicate without getting ourselves killed." The stakes were higher than ever, and the next move would determine not just their survival, but the future of any possible relationship with the new rulers of Terra. Back aboard the Starfinder, the crew gathered in the main control room, tension etched on every face. The information they had uncovered changed everything. The hybrids on Terra were not mindless beasts. They were sentient beings with a claim to the planet. "We need a plan," Mara said, her voice resolute. "We can't just leave Terra to them, but we also can't engage them in open conflict. There has to be a way to communicate and find common ground." Dr. Patel nodded. "I've been analyzing their communication patterns. It's rudimentary but sophisticated. They use a combination of vocal sounds and bioluminescent signals. If we can replicate that, we might be able to open a dialogue." Jax began working on a translation algorithm using the data they had collected. "I can modify our comms to mimic their signals," he said, "but it will take time." "We don't have much time," Kellen interjected, pointing at the view screen. The hybrids had begun to mobilize on the surface, clearly preparing for a potential confrontation. "We'll need to show them that we're not a threat," Mara said. "We need to find a way to demonstrate our intentions peacefully." As Jax continued his work, Lynn prepared a small shuttle for descent. "I'll need to be close to the surface to transmit the signal," Jax explained. "If we stay in orbit, it might not be strong enough." Mara agreed, despite the risks. "All right, Jax and Lynn will go down in the shuttle. Dr. Patel and I will monitor from here. Kellen, you'll coordinate our defenses if things go south." The plan was set in motion. Jax and Lynn boarded the shuttle, their nerves taut but their resolve firm. The shuttle descended, breaking through the atmosphere and heading towards the last known location of the hybrids. "Signal is ready," Jax said, adjusting the comms array. "Initiating transmission." The shuttle hovered above the forest, sending out a series of sounds and light patterns designed to mimic the hybrids' communication. For a tense few moments, there was no response. Then, from the trees below, a series of answering signals flashed back. The hybrids were responding. "They're acknowledging us," Jax said, his voice filled with cautious hope. "But they're wary." Lynn kept the shuttle steady as Jax continued to transmit. Gradually, the hybrids began to emerge from the forest, their eyes glowing in the dim light. They moved slowly, cautiously, but there was no aggression in their movements. "Open a visual channel," Mara instructed from the Starfinder. "Let's try to show them who we are." The shuttle's cameras transmitted images of the crew to the hybrids. There was a moment of silence, and then the hybrids responded with a series of more complex signals. Dr. Patel, watching the interaction, deciphered the patterns. "They're asking why we're here. They want to know our intentions." Mara took a deep breath and spoke into the comms. "We come in peace. We seek knowledge and wish to understand your kind. We do not wish to harm you." Jax translated her message into the hybrid's signals. The response came quickly, a mix of curiosity and caution. "They're willing to talk," Jax said, relief evident in his voice. "But they want us to come down and meet them face to face." Mara knew this was a pivotal moment. "All right, we're going down. Keep the shuttle ready for a quick getaway if things go wrong." Mara, Jax, and Lynn exited the shuttle, stepping onto the overgrown ground of Terra. The hybrids watched them, their expressions unreadable but their movements calm. One of the hybrids, larger and seemingly more authoritative, stepped forward. It made a series of sounds and light patterns that Jax quickly translated. It says, "Welcome, travelers. We are the guardians of this land. Why do you seek us?" Mara stepped forward, her heart pounding. "We come from the stars, seeking knowledge and understanding. We wish to learn about you and your world. We want to find a way to coexist peacefully." The hybrid leader studied her for a moment before responding. "You are the children of the old ones. They created us, then abandoned us. Why should we trust you?" Mara chose her words carefully. "Because we are not them. We are different. We want to learn from the mistakes of the past and build a future where both our kinds can thrive." There was a long pause, and then the hybrid leader signaled again. "We will consider your words. For now you may stay, but be warned. We will be watching." The crew returned to the shuttle, the weight of their encounter heavy on their shoulders. As they lifted off, they knew that this was just the beginning of a long and challenging journey. Back on the Starfinder, Mara addressed her crew. "We've made contact and it went better than expected, but this is only the first step. We need to build trust and find a way to coexist. Terra is no longer just a mission, it's a new beginning." The crew nodded, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. They had come to Terra seeking answers, and in doing so, had found a new hope for the future. Hey everyone! If you loved this thrilling HFY sci-fi adventure, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting tales from the cosmos. Your comments and feedback mean a lot to us, so please leave a comment below with your thoughts and theories. Thank you so much for your support. It really helps us continue bringing you these amazing stories. Remember, subscribe and join us on more epic journeys across the stars. We appreciate each and every one of you.